Right now at 5:30, we are continuing our exclusive live interviews with the final two candidates to be the next JCPS Superintendent. At 5 o'clock, you saw Dr. Brian Yearwood. He will be meeting the public tomorrow along with Ben Shuldiner. And Ben Shuldiner is joining us right now here at 5:30.
Thank you very much for coming in, sitting time here talking with us. You're currently running the Lansing, Michigan.
I am.
School district there. Now that by the way I checked, is about 10,000 students. You know, JCPS is 100,000 students.
Absolutely.
Some other facts I find interesting. 139 languages are spoken at JCPS. We have 4,000 homeless students. 36% African American, 34% white. Why do you believe you're the right man to run JCPS and replace Marty Pollio?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and privilege to be here. I believe I'm the right person because of the work that we've done in Lansing. I think we can expand to a place like Jefferson County. We have very similar demographics. We came in, we had a 62% high school graduation rate. We now have an 88% graduation rate. We've improved attendance by 14 points, 13 points. We've actually reduced our chronic absentee rate by 32 points. We've raised test scores. We have the highest increase in reading scores in the state of Michigan. What we did in Lansing, I would love to be able to, with this community, do with Jefferson County.
I was just about to ask you how you would bring it to such a big district here, because truancy, things like that have been an issue here in Jefferson County as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I appreciate the size. I also sat on the New York City School Board, which is 10 times the size of Jefferson County. And I think that what you understand about school districts is children are children, parents are parents, teachers are teachers. If you create the right systems and structures, if you make sure that there's enough support, enough love, and accountability, you can move mountains. That's what we did in Lansing, and that's what I would love to do here in Louisville.
A couple of questions we want to ask you that we just asked Dr. Brian Yearwood. The political reality in Kentucky that even Marty Pollio didn't have to deal with 8 years ago, and that is Republican control in Frankfort. They've already noticed that you've been described as a social activist on social media. They've raised issues with that. They are threatening and have talked about possibly breaking up JCPS into smaller districts or some kind of control based on how this selection goes. How would you be able to deal with the reality of Republican lawmakers given your background?
Sure. Well, first of all, what somebody wrote on a Wikipedia page 20 years ago, I don't think is necessarily germane, but I think the most important thing is I know that all lawmakers, Democrat, Republican, care about children. I know that they want them to succeed. And what I would say to anybody, especially the ones that you mentioned, I am here to serve the great, wonderful students, and if there's a way that we can work together, all the better. I think that there is a lot of discord. I think there's a lot of problems, but I know in their heart they want what's best for our children, just like I want what's best for our children. And I think if we sit down together, we will be able to move forward.
Is this district too big? Should it be broken up into districts?
No, absolutely not. I mean, again, in New York, where you had 1 million kids, you could do really wonderful things. I think the great thing about JCPS being at 100,000 is there's economies of scale. You can actually offer all sorts of different programs. If the district is smaller, you actually are limited to what you could do for our children. So I think it's a perfect size. I think 100,000 is a great number, and I think that Louisville is a perfect place to live.
Transportation, another big issue with JCPS. You know what's happened recently here with budget cuts. They had to take back the stipends that they were giving parents who lost transportation for their kids. You dealt with that in your district. You actually had high school students, stop bus transportation. Tell us about that and how it works.
So when I got to Lansing, they said, sorry, Ben, half the bus drivers are gone and you're going to have to cut half the routes. And I said, well, what do you want us to do? And I said, well, you probably shouldn't bus all your kids. I said, absolutely not. We need to make sure that we have answers for everybody. So we created gas cards. So a lot of families wanted gas cards. But then we created a partnership with the public bus system called CATA. So our high school kids not only get bus passes, but they actually get bus passes all day, every day. So they actually can go get jobs at night. They can travel during the weekends. And at first, people were nervous. By the second week, it's been great, and the press has been amazing. People say this was one of the best things we've done, and to prove it, our high school attendance rate is actually higher than it was pre-COVID, because if you missed the yellow bus, you'd have an excuse to not go to school. There's always another public bus.
Ben, you're coming in at a week where we reported last week, $150 million in budget cuts announced by JCPS over 2 years. Would you make up the deficit of that with tax increases? Would you support a tax increase?
Well, look, I mean, I just got here, right? I think that there's
Yearwood said he would.
Yeah, no, I mean, fair enough. And I think that the idea is that you absolutely would support it, but more importantly, I need the folks at home to believe that the money is well spent. I'm a huge proponent of making sure that schools are funded. So not only would I actually support the tax, for the school district, but we as JCPS have to make sure that the community believes that it's money well spent.
And can you tell folks why you're so excited to be here in the connection?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when the headhunters called me to say, hey, would you be interested in coming here? I said, actually, this is one of our dream cities because my fiance won the Muhammad Ali Humanitarian Award about 10 years ago and was a Daughters of Greatness in 2019. And then during COVID, she and I did coat distribution and traveled around doing public service during COVID. We love this city. When I got the call that this place was open and they were interested in my resume, I said, please put my name in. I am honored. I am honored.
And you're thinking down the road here, you're going to meet the public tomorrow. What's the one thing you want to connect with them? I mean, what kind of access will they have for you? It's a little hard for
sure. But they'll have tremendous access. What I want to make sure happens tomorrow is that we begin that trust. We begin building that understanding that I'm going to be there to serve them, that everything I do, every waking moment is going to be about how do we help those 100,000 children learn, succeed, and be happy.
All right, Ben Shuldiner, thank you very much. Again, we appreciate your time and enjoy your visit to Louisville. You know the community.
I do.
Through the award you just talked about. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for being here.
Once again, we want to push the meetings for tomorrow because they really want you to come out and meet the two candidates. You're invited to meet Ben Shuldiner and Brian Yearwood. JCPS having these two different public forums tomorrow. First one's going to be 4 to 6 p.m. at the JCPS Center for Professional Learning off Newburgh Road. The second session is from 7 to 9 at Stouffer Elementary School. That's in Aiken Road in Eastern Jefferson County. Good luck to both of you.